Blessings and greetings, greetings and blessings, blessed souls. We're alive because we're meant to stay alive in this most existential of moments with the intent, with a joyous spirit to be configured with Torah Cham, instructions of life, Torah Chesed, instructions of kindness, Torah Rachmim, instructions of mercies. In the last couple days, I've been learning in the famous Frankel Shul here in Erie Heights, Crown Heights, Brooklyn, New York, located as part of Turtle Island, aka USA, Unified Soul Actualization. The perspective from the sixth Chabad Lubavitch Rebbe Yosef Yitzhak Schneerson, about the potency of our innermost soul garment. What are our outermost soul garments? The most outer soul garment is our faculty of action. And going to work, writing a letter, making a phone call, sending a fax, giving charity. The intermediary garment of the soul is human speech, by which we are so termed from the inner dimensions and the outer dimensions of Torah. We are called the species of Medaber, the speaking ones who speak. Of course, animals speak, they communicate, but we speak with a unique privilege as part of our heritage of human beings. We speak because we're accessing our power of speech, which is configured to our emotional capacities, which is configured to our intellectual capacities, primarily our human intellect, which is configured with our divine image, our Tselem Elokim. And first, and certainly not least, is our innermost soul garment, our faculty of thought. At the beginning of a seminal work by the Rebbe Rayatzes, he was also known as Rebbe Yosef Yitzhak Schneerson of Lubavitch and later on Crown Heights, taught us in a teaching from Riga in 1932 when he was sitting in a sukkah, fulfilling the biblical commandment to sit in a sukkah. Machashava mo'elet. Thought is potent. Thought is potent. It is the foundation for action. Now, there's a Hebrew version, and there's a Yiddish version of this teaching, and there's an English version. So I'm learning the English version, although I've learned the Hebrew version many times over. I was learning the English version with a younger man than myself the last couple of days. And lo and behold, we turned to the second teaching, and happened to be on Simchas Torah evening in 1932 in Riga, where it's translated from the Hebrew to the English. It is known and certain that thinking bears fruit. Now, I looked in the Hebrew trend, the original Hebrew, but Stama the Frierdiker Rebbe Wright said it in Yiddish, and it was been translated to the Hebrew. Now it's been translated to English. It doesn't say that thinking bears fruit, but that it's an absolute known thing that, again, thinking helps. That thought is the foundation of action. And after it gets enclosed in a specified manner from level to level, and everyone knows that his or her thought process is the foundation for whatever actions they take. But the fact that it's by divine providence that the translator, who happened to be, he's well known, I think it's Uri Kaplun, who lives, I think, in the holy city of Jerusalem, took the liberty to translate out that thinking bears fruit, inspired me with an idea that I want to share with you. What is that idea? That if we consider the soul garment, innermost soul garment, thought as being a type of catalyst for bearing fruit, and of course, fruit comes from a tree. So we have three components involved in the production of a fruit, which is the purpose why there is such a fruit tree and what preceded the tree. So let's start from the outermost allegorical, hinting to the human or the outermost garment of the soul, the fruit. The fruit is action. The actions that we take, the actions which are the garments of the soul, which give expression. As the well-known phrase is, judge a person by what they do and not what they say. Fruits come from a tree. A tree is corresponding to, I humbly submit for your intellectual and spiritual perusal, the tree corresponds to the human soul garment of speech. Some people's trees are magnified, some people's trees are humble, some people's speech are crooked, therefore the allegorical crooked tree, which doesn't want to connect with other, so to speak, allegorical trees. People have speech that is divisive, people have speech which are inclusive and full of all types of unifications, various levels in the world of action and speech and thought and intellect. And from the very beginning of this process, if we allegorize this concept that thinking bears fruit, and we want to advocate that our thinking should bear good fruit, that a good thought is like a healthy seed. The healthy seed, with the Almighty's blessing, should lead to the emergence of a healthy tree, a healthy preponderance of healthy, energizing, empowering, nurturing speech, which should lead to a series of nurturing human actions. Now, our original common ancestors, Adam and Eve, lived very briefly in the Garden of Eden. And it was through the faculty of speech that they actually fell, or more precisely, it was the speech of the Nachash Kadmoni, the primordial snake, who, as we read in the written and oral Torah traditions, from the inner dimension, the outer dimension of the Torah, the primordial snake, the Nachash, used speech to coerce verbally Eve, and then he physically pushed her into the tree, and she saw that she would not die because she was told that if she touches the tree, she will die. First, the snake tried to convince her, why not eat of the tree? The Creator doesn't want you to be like Creator. But for the primordial snake, the Nachash Kadmoni, to have tried to coerce Eve, her true name is Chava, he had to be thinking of how to trick her. He had to be thinking about a manner which only could have been the byproduct of his hatred or jealousy of Adam, and even Chava for that matter, because he caused both of them to incur the death penalty, although it didn't happen immediately. His Creator said, he warned them, do not eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, because in the day that they eat it, they would pass on. However, a day of a Creator is 1,000 years, as testified in the prophetic Psalm 90 by Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, our mighty Levite prophet. So they were expelled from the Garden of Eden, but there were no 7-Elevens, there were no whatever stores it may be, there were no McDonald's, Wendy's, or there was not even an organic vegan restaurant. They had to live off the land. And they had to learn how to plow and seed and nurture. 5,779 years later, blessed souls, we find ourselves in the same situation. We are still farmers. And what we are dealing with, whether we live in an agrarian society or a high-tech society or a concrete jungle type of culture, we still must take the responsibility for producing good seeds, good thoughts, which will spawn and generate healthy growing trees, speech, which will then eventually, in the proper time, lead to action which are proper and nurturing and positive. Because we know that you might be thinking a thought for many years. You might have developed the speech and the ability to elucidate on these great ideas, but until you bring into actuality, it can take a certain amount of time to actually actualize the thought and speech which preceded that wonderful act that you merited to manifest. So I'd like to end as we head out to greet this blessed Shabbat in which we're learning the Torah portion of Shlach, that in this week's Torah portion, 10 spies sent out by none other than Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, their thought process was incorrect, and their speech process was incorrect. They overestimated the power of those living in the land that the Creator told Moses to tell the 12 tribes of Israel that they would inherit and move in and settle. Therefore, their speech became speech which produced unhealthy allegorical trees, which elicited a reaction from heaven that generation, those 20 and older, from the males would not enter. As far as I recall, the women wanted to enter. They believed in the Creator. Women 20 and older were able to enter the land, but the males 20 and older were not able to enter the land. The only two that were over 20 were able to enter the land were the two faithful spies, Yehoshua ben Nun and Kalev ben Yefunah, because they, with simple faith, believed in the commandment, or the instruction, the personalized instruction, which was not commanded by the Creator. The Almighty gave Moses the free will to say, if you want to send them, send them. He wasn't commanded, as opposed to Yehoshua ben Nun, who became the one who replaced Moshe as the next leader, next prophet/leader of Israel, to conquer the land in order the 12 tribes should enter. And he sent in Pinchas, the grandson of Aaron, the older brother of Moses. And again, Kalev ben Yefunah, Kalev ben Yefunah, I might have said Kalev ben Aminadab, that's a mistake. It's Kalev ben Yefunah, to go into the land of Jericho, which then relates to Yericho, is the idea of reach, of a wonderful essence that emanates out, a wonderful aromatic projection into the creation. And another teaching by the Lubavitch Rebbe delivered in Tafshin Lamed Vav, 1976, the Rebbe explains that when Pinchas, a great-grandson of Aaron HaKohen, the older brother of Moshe, and Kalev ben Yefunah went to Yericho, that was representative of the responsibility of each one of the nation of Israel, and to exemplify for the blessed nations of the world, the Bnei Noach, to conquer their soul garment of thought, their soul garment of speech, their soul garment of action, in order eventually they can conquer their own personalized form of the land of Israel, which meant conquering 7 emotional attributes which need to be actualized from a shell-like consciousness, and too self-limiting and too self-absorbed and sometimes quite overly narcissistic, to become one that are giving and dedicated to the higher calling of being faithful students and servants and stewards, faithful servants and students of the Almighty, and faithful stewards to the blessed planet Earth. So we'll end off on this with this note, blessed those that we should all merit to be proper farmers now in the English calendar date, the Alexander or the Greco-Roman calendar 2019, corresponding to 5,779 years since original man and woman walked the earth, Adam and Chava. That we should take control of our thought process to make sure that our thoughts are positive and our speech is positive, our words are positive, and how much more so our actions are positive. May this all end and manifest in a way as a proper preparation for allegoric and literally plowing the earth, plowing the ground, that the seeds of redemption born out of our good thought, speech, and action should lead to the actualization of human potential, all 7.7 billion human beings gleaming and streaming all over the face of this blessed earth. This is anti-eugenics Torah, blessed souls. So we'll end off in a way of Ahava Chad, one love, Girl Echad, one destiny, Kulana follows, but Darki Nom Darki Shom, a pleasant, peaceful way. And I want to end up by saying, we've all got to be good. And as well, when I say that, I make a parenthetical statement. before anyone else, I've got to be good. You've got to be, we all got to be good, because Ateva Tov Lahetiv, the nature of the do good and the creator is the source of our goodness, awaits ever so patiently for us to activate that goodness. Let's cast our seeds of good thoughts, cast out our seeds of good speech, loving, nurturing speech for other human beings. We can also give nurturing speech to plant life and animal life as well, all forms of creation. And of course, let our actions be permeated with the goodness which was prefaced by our good speech and our positive, nurturing speech, and of course, our positive, nurturing thoughts. To be considered with the Most High. And let us get ready for Shabbat with the intent that we should be merit, we should be zocha to usher in, to be the generation that receives the universal Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.